comrade and I want to say a few words about paranormal profiteering. We're against it, aren't we? See, he's very strongly against it. But the problem is that a lot of people see the paranormal as a way to make money from the gullible. And there are lots of gullible people out there who are willing to pay it. There's no point in paying to go on an investigation. For a start, if a place is making a profit from an alleged paranormal reputation, they're not going to risk you finding nothing, so they're going to be faking things. Woodchester Mansion is a fine example of a location that has hyped itself up to the point where people believe it's one of the most haunted places in the country, without a shred of actual evidence. The most I've ever seen from there is a picture of an orb, and as we all know, orbs have been completely debunked. There's no reason for Woodchester to be haunted. It was never even inhabited. Tales of druids and Romans are ridiculous, come from the deranged imaginings of various fake mediums. Whether they're deliberate fakes or just gullible fantasists themselves, I don't know, but they definitely come out with nothing sensible. And Woodchester is making a fortune out of people who pay to investigate it. Now, in my experience, one of the things that gives away a true haunted location is the fact that they're not interested in the money. They want the facts. I've known many haunted places that ask us not to reveal where they are or what is going on in the place because they don't want to be known as haunted. But even those for whom it would be a help don't charge money to serious investigators. And if you go on one of these paid things, you will be with a group of perhaps 30 people wandering around, making noise, causing havoc. Most of them will not be competent investigators. Probably none of them will be, because reputable investigators don't get mixed up in that kind of thing. And you will end up following them around, finding pictures that are reflections of somebody else around the corner. You really can't do a proper investigation with 30 people unless you have a vast location. Even then, personally, I wouldn't. I would need a lot of convincing to take more than 10 with me on any investigation. Then you have the problem of people who charge for membership of a group. Now, I've been in a group where they kept trying to up the membership charge as money became more and more of an issue. It's not fair. It means that anybody who isn't wealthy is priced out of it. I mean, it's ridiculous to charge people for being part of a group where they will have to do a lot of work. Then you have the groups that charge for investigations. As far as I'm concerned, if you're charging a client to go to their place and investigate, you are effectively stealing from them. There is no legitimate reason to charge a client. They're giving you the privilege of coming into their location and looking at their ghosts. You should be down on your knees thanking them. It takes a lot of trust for somebody to just hand over the keys to their place. And we are so lucky that so many people are willing to do it for us. That so many locations are willing to hand us the opportunity to go in. At WIT we don't charge, ever. We don't accept donations because I've known groups that make asking for donations into a kind of charge. Strongly suggesting it, highlighting it in bright colours at the bottom of letters. We accept donations. Hinting all the time. I've even seen groups that will exaggerate the evidence to avoid losing a client who may be giving a donation at some point. All of this is fatal to integrity. If money is involved in the paranormal, then integrity goes out the window. And I've seen it happen to too many groups. I was forced out of one group because I was against effectively fleecing people. And the stronger my resistance came, the less I was invited on investigations. Until finally I was driven out. The group in question now seems to have failed. probably because they let money become more important than anything else. It's horrible and it's wrong. It's totally unprincipled. And we have to bear in mind what we're doing. The dead deserve respect as much as the living. People who are charging either to go on an investigation or charging the client for an investigation are effectively charging for the paranormal, which we cannot understand enough to control. We cannot offer people guaranteed experiences with the paranormal, and we shouldn't be doing it anyway. Ghosts are not prostitutes. We are not pimps. Wit will never accept or solicit money from any client, any member, or anybody else. Wit is funded by me. And I am not rich. In fact, unemployed at the moment, I have nothing to put into Wit. But I will not ask anyone for donation. Because my reputation is beyond price. My integrity is not for sale. And the spirits, wherever they are found, whatever their purpose, are not mine to buy and sell. I would urge anyone who is thinking of going to a famous location that is charging vast quantities for investigations, just go and sit outside and ask the spirits to come to you. The spirits are not owned by the location. Better still, write to the location and tell them why you won't be investigating there. Just don't pay these prices, because when you do, you are backing up a system that is fleecing people. There is no excuse for charging for the paranormal. The one situation where you can take money for the paranormal is if you write a book, because that's your own work you're selling. You can write books, you can make DVDs, you can do all kinds of things in that area. Personal creativity. But when you're working on the front line of the paranormal and you're going on investigations, keep money out of it. And if you say, this is an expensive field, we can't afford to do it if we don't charge, then you're in it for all the wrong reasons. You're not going to get anywhere anyway. It is expensive. It is hard. I have spent a lot of money on my sparse equipment. I'll continue to do so whenever I have money. But I know that I'm beholden to no one. I owe no one any money. And I have nothing that forces me to fake evidence or placate a client. And no one will ever come to me and say, you ripped me off. And that's going to be worth quite a lot. It's an expensive hobby. But that's what it is. It's our hobby. And we're very lucky that people allow us to do it. We should not be charging for it, and we should not be paying people who are willing to charge us.